On July 7th, Neptune stations retrograde at 4 degrees of Aries and will travel back to 1 degree 37 minutes of Aries until December 12th. This is a typical retrograde for Neptune, as it often spends half of the year in retrograde, allowing our higher self wisdom, intuition, soul guidance, and softer feelings to be more integrated and felt. And so this is actually a Neptune retrograde that's going to feel more personal. It's going to bring you into some deeper understandings of your gifts, your self-concept now, and the energies that you are ready to fully embrace that maybe look very different than previous times in your life and previous versions of yourself. In other words, this Neptune retrograde is assisting in your rebirth and is showing you more of how you can trust yourself internally and tune out the external noise, opinions, thoughts, and distractions that are not in alignment with who you really are. So this is a personal energy of listening to what you're feeling and giving that more voice, more validation, more understanding. And this is actually going to be perhaps quite profound for some people in the second half of this year, because the Neptune influence dissolves away previous versions of self in Aries. That Aries energy is often ready to go. It's cardinal fire. It's the ignition, the activator, the motivation. It's also the first sign in the zodiac that sets out to understand, who am I? What matters to me? What am I about? What do I like? What do I enjoy? Who am I here to be? And this Neptune in Aries is actually removing all of the false answers or false concepts of self that no longer align with this new grand cycle that we're in. So we have to look at this and also apply it to the big energies of July, the big astrology of July that we've been discussing. Also, the new cycles of energy through the second half of 2026 and into the rest of this decade. In other words, this is a very profound beginning point. But it can take time for certain parts of our energy fields to catch up with the new beginnings, to understand that you're here to make new choices now, to see yourself in a new light, to embrace more of who you are that perhaps you're meeting for the first time. And what's interesting about this particular Neptune retrograde in Aries is that it's also going to make it more evident to you who you no longer are, what you have cleared out, what you have moved away from. And for some people, they're going to feel that really strongly. They're even going to sense, I'm ready to make new choices in my life, choices that maybe never interested you before, things you would have had no desire to experience or do. Well, those would have been energies and parts of your self-identity connected to a previous version of yourself that has been required to change, shift, and evolve. Neptune was previously in Pisces, starting back in 2011, just until earlier in 2026, when it entered into Aries, where it's now staying until 2039. So essentially, we were in a very intense, drawn out cycle of ending spiritual lessons, healing themes, old karma, previous versions of ourselves. We were in a very slow moving energy of basically learning more about our energy systems, our spiritual principles, our soul growth. Neptune did well in Pisces because that's the sign it rules, but it was more of a passive energy. It was just releasing your grasp and moving through something, allowing the endings to occur, bringing in even lessons of compassion, forgiveness, unconditional love. And so the previous cycle with Neptune actually was redirecting us into our God self, what we were going to essentially partner with in the spiritual realms to understand all the changes of the physical realms. Because part of a human experience is understanding, well, here I am in this human body, feet on the earth, moving through these environments, situations, and physical places. And yet I can feel and sense there's more to me than what I can see. There's more to this experience than what is viewable and tangible. And so we were also in a bigger understanding of our intuitive capabilities and our psychic senses when that Neptune in Pisces journey was unfolding. And so now with Neptune in Aries and staying in Aries until 2039, we are integrating a deeper trust in ourselves. But it's personal. It's related to your self-knowingness. It's related to answers only you can determine for yourself. No one else validates it. No one else gets it in the same way. And so this becomes a more sovereign journey of spiritual growth, of understanding your intuition and trusting what is correct for you. It is more individual and personal. It could feel that you have more freedom to be yourself, that you love the independence, that you enjoy being able to focus in on what you're feeling and move with that, work with that you don't need anyone else or everyone else to get it. And so as this Neptune retrogrades in Aries, this is what we are more personally integrating, is that self-trust. And I feel too like this is an important turning point on a healing path or a healing journey, where if there's things you had to step away from, change out, transition away from, this Neptune in Aries actually wants you to now bring in and call in more of what aligns with what you want and who you are. And so there's a beginning phase here that involves powerful manifestations that relate directly to your personal timeline. Think of your timeline as your own algorithm. And the universe is always responding to that. And the universe is asking you to be very clear in trusting yourself in what you want to experience next, and to honor that it's meant to be new and different. In fact, that will have a lot of energy to it. Now, this Neptune stationing retrograde at 4 degrees of Aries is receiving beautiful support from Uranus in Gemini through a sextile, as well as Pluto in Aquarius also through a sextile. Neptune is at an apex point between these two outer planets, where Uranus in Gemini is bringing in the new exciting ideas, the choices, the possibilities, what looks different that you just feel lights you up. And this is going to give you a new lease on life, a new understanding of what you can create and experience in your daily life. There's a buzziness with this Uranus in Gemini sextiling Neptune, where it activates a bigger dream. Maybe something that you didn't even contemplate is now coming into your conscious awareness, and you can sense this has energy. This has great potential. This feels like it'd be really good for me. And it's also bringing alive more of my true self that I didn't realize was perhaps dormant. Then we have this Pluto in Aquarius bringing in new future potentials that also stir up something deeper within you at a soul level. That Pluto in Aquarius is allowing us to face any fears that would prevent us from moving into a higher timeline and the best possible dreams we can manifest. Pluto is here to say you don't have to carry any of those past injuries, those past fears, those past debilitating, let's say, infiltrations or distortions into this new version of your reality. And so Pluto is bringing in a force of power that maybe is helping you lock in to a vision, concept, or ideal that maybe felt unavailable before. Yes, the energies are this positive. Yes, they are meant to be uplifting, but they also depend on you. And that's part of where this Neptune retrograde in Aries can have weaknesses, because you could go into some of those lower Neptunian expressions of powerlessness, hopelessness, escapism, not wanting to be in your true intuitive skill set, not wanting to trust the energies, not wanting to trust yourself. And so the question is, are you ready to live life from this new version of yourself, to let the past be the past, to let previous versions of yourself be beautiful experiences, or perhaps beautiful teachers, or maybe just beautiful chapters that now are meant to fade away? And July is ushering us into some big new frequencies. But Neptune is saying it's crucial to travel with deeper trust in yourself that is strengthened internally regularly. Aries is your root chakra. It's the energy that grounds you in the earth. And so this is also going to be working with any of your old survival patterns, fight or flight, anything that has limited your ability to feel strong and connected to your physical reality. This is going to bring up how you're able to embody a truer sense of self that can feel vulnerable. Like you're meeting new parts of yourself for the first time. You're making new choices for the first time in this energy realm. You're understanding that there's new things you want. And maybe that's surprising. This could be where people have some makeovers in their life. They're making big new life choices, big new life decisions, because that's what feels accurate for them. That's what feels true and strong and powerful. And this is a beautiful celebration of who you came here to be that includes your intuition, a deep trust in yourself, a deep belief in yourself, and how I feel it's now being newly rooted in higher unconditional love for yourself. And so you might feel like a warming energy, a sense of excitement, a sense of like this uplifting wave of compelling energy to do the thing, to go for what you want, to trust what you're envisioning. And part of that is also really feeling how it is bigger than you. It's bigger than just even maybe this lifetime or this moment. It's bigger than you for a reason, and that's because it's time. It's time to move forward into these new dreams, these new endeavors, and this new sense of hope and possibility that you can trust. if you choose to trust it, if you choose to say yes to it, but the universe is saying yes to you. So allow this Neptune retrograde in Aries to dissolve anything external that limits your true sovereign self. Allow this to be a cycle that greatly supports more of believing in yourself, trusting the new beginnings that are appearing, and to know that it's right on time in this cycle. It's beautifully on time. And so for some of you, you're going to feel this more personally if you have planets or points in the early degrees of Aries, because that Neptune conjunction is slowly moving out anything that is no longer aligned with where you're going and who you're becoming. It's a slow moving Neptune energy, but it's also bringing about more of a release and more of an openness to who you are truly at a soul level. So I hope this has given you some encouraging things to understand during this Neptune retrograde, because it can make you feel tired, worn out, needing a break, needing a vacation. But also it's going to show you where your energy is slowing down so you can hear your soul, hear your answers, and trust yourself with greater clarity. So we'll keep talking about this Neptune, of course, as we move through more of the upcoming transits of 2026. But I really hope this gives you a way of embracing the energy and all the answers that are coming through for you as you quiet the external and focus on the internal. And if you'd love to share, I would love to hear in the comments how you're feeling this energy, or even what you've been understanding at a personal spiritual level about this Neptune in Aries energy signature. Maybe how you've become more intuitive, more psychic, how you're reading and picking up on energy more accurately, because that is something that's happening for many people, but we can feel alone in that. So if you would like to share in the comments to help others in this community, that would be fantastic and greatly appreciated. Otherwise, I'll see you back here soon for another video, and wishing you a beautiful journey here as we move further into July.